Hi, I'm Chris Mather of Leveragent, and welcome to It's About the Story. This series is about helping you create and deliver a great investment presentation for nearly any investment audience, whether that's a group of VCs, an entrepreneurial development organization that has money to invest, a pitch competition, SBIR, STTR, pitch days, whatever that audience is, we want to be able to help you with it. This content has generally been given mostly in a live format, but 2 to 3 hour workshops. And we've broken it down instead into 15 to 17 separate individual modules. And we hope that's smaller bite-sized portions work well for you. So with that, let's get to what this module is. So module one is about how VC fundable companies are different. As you go through, I think the best way to do this is to go with the whole thing in order. So module 1 to 2 to 3. If you need to go back, that's great. But in general, I think that's going to work better. But if you also just want to just bounce around, that's okay too. So any way that you want to do it can work. So let's start it. Venture capital funding is different. And one of the reasons why it's different is because of the fact that the companies are different. And we're going to go over some of those things. And because the companies are different, the presentations you have to put together are different as well. So let's talk about some of the attributes of these venture capital fundable companies and recognize that we are talking about certainly less than 2% of entrepreneurial ventures. The people that are not venture capital fundable are restaurants, unless they're a chain with a really cool idea, hair care salons, lawn care services, car repair, small retail. None of these fit venture capital. So since you're listening to these, you guys probably are in that 2% of those companies that really are doing something different and something that can really, really grow fast. And that's what's really important in this headline. And I want to break down the title part of the slide is requires significant capital to enable exponential growth. Well, requires significant capital. If you didn't require that capital, you wouldn't be going for VC because it's difficult and it has some trade-offs to it. And if you didn't require significant capital, the VCs wouldn't want to talk to you anyway because they want to put their capital to work. And they are looking for exponential growth, as are you, by the way. So that's what's important. And those big ideas in big growth, things like YouTube growing big enough to be acquired by Google, they usually need big capital to happen. One of the VCs that we talked to when I raised money for my last venture-backed company he said once that it always takes twice as much time and twice as much money as the entrepreneur thinks it does. And actually, he was probably understating that by a fair amount. And then the last thing is that capital is probably not available anywhere else. There really isn't a bank that's going to lend you that money because for their piddly 5 to 10% return, they are not going to take that kind of a risk unless you can cover the risk by, for example, putting your house up as collateral, which I'm thinking most entrepreneurs are not willing to do, and that's why venture capital exists in a lot of ways. They do look for some other things. They do want to know that you can give up some control and that you're willing to exit. They want control because they are in the lifeboat with you guys. So they're going to want board seats. And that means taking your current board, if you have an advisory board, and reconfiguring. And I can tell you that my board, we had a great board, and I had to ask a couple of them to leave because when we took money, the new investor needed to be able to appoint an independent, and at least they thought they did. And they had the economic power to drive it. And they had to have a board seat for one of their people along with our previous investor. And so we had an independent to name plus the people from the company, the CEO, me, and the founder. So they also have regular checkup meetings, and they are interesting because they are stressful. When the people from my venture capital company, even though I like these guys a lot, I mean, I remained good friends with them, and one of them actually became the governor of Michigan subsequently. But when they showed up for a checkup meeting with me, I was under a lot of stress. I knew I was under the microscope because they were checking to see if we were doing and could do what we had said we could do. They will also keep veto power over certain decisions like changes of control, follow on funding, or other major decisions, because you're in the lifeboat together. So you don't get to decide that I'm just going to sell the company to who I want. It's a joint decision. And if anything, they usually have a little more control than you do. They also want to know that you're willing to exit. Usually that's via what's called a strategic sale, and that's where the company or the technology is sold to a larger company who fits in that marketplace. So in my case, we took a third round of VC funding to somebody who got over 51%. So then they later, very soon after, sold it to a large military contractor who then sold it to a larger military contractor who's on the New York Stock Exchange. And that product is still being used, but it's kind of buried in a big product line. It's possible that there be an IPO. They do happen, but they're not likely. So you shouldn't be planning on an IPO. It would be great if you did, but you shouldn't necessarily expect it because they're not really that common. So what's important in a presentation to funders? Is it financials? Is it product details? Is it market size? And the answer is, yep, all those things are important. But really what's most important is that it's about a story. And I know it's the name of this, but I am going to mention this a lot. You have to have something that's compelling for that audience. It can't just be just the financials and just the product details. They've got to walk away saying, wow, I really liked that one. So that's the end of module 1. And the next module will be about what VCs actually want to see in that investment presentation. And then after that, just to give you a quick look ahead, the next one after that will be the beginnings of using some of the It's About the Story concepts to create your presentation. So that's the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching, but I want to give you a very short little commercial about a product that we have called Perfect Pitch. And Perfect Pitch is a one-to-one mentoring service that we offer to really help you deliver that best presentation. I won't go into all these details. You can read all this. I have lots of options, done 100% remotely. We've gotten really efficient with doing these. And the difference is really about your story. So this is about making sure that you have it. It's been very, very popular, been successful with over 300 entrepreneurs over the past number of years. And if you're interested, just go to my website at leveragent.net, or you can email me directly at chris@leveragent.net. And with that, I'd just like to say that if you liked It's About the Story and you think that you might watch the rest of the series, we'd love to see you give us a thumbs up and to subscribe. And thanks a lot, and hopefully I'll see you in module 2.